and welcome to At Home Today. Hope that you're not too stressed out and not pushing too hard to get ready for the holidays. I know that the preparation is totally bizarre at this time of the year because all the last minute things you're trying to think of, and even this far away from Christmas, you're still really trying to come up with some ideas. And let me just mention these couple of things. Today we're going to be doing some cookies. Last week we did the candies, and today's part one of our cookies. And I've got to show you some gift ideas. Now, these are inexpensive things. Pot holders are always a welcome gift. I mean, always. Look at some of these. Aren't these neat? Look, even a pet shop. These nice, kind of, you know, we're kind of partial to homes because that's what we're all about. We like these types of things. And how about some nice dishcloths? Such pretty varieties. There's a lot of this kind of stuff out there. Anybody that really enjoys being in the kitchen would enjoy this type of a gift. I have to show you this one. All right, just take a close-up. Oh, come, all ye faithful. All right, so I don't sing so good, but isn't this a cute idea? Clever, it's a nice oven mitt. I love it. Don't write and ask us where to get them because this is a couple of years old, isn't it? So we don't know, but it's a neat gift. And of course, our at-home cookbook, which you've been hearing about, I'm sure, and you're probably up to here with it, but that's a gift idea too. We don't want to pass that by. Whatever you're trying to do, don't get overwhelmed with the enormity of the task. Let's keep it simple this year. Don't make 15 different varieties of cookies like you normally do. Cut back. Only make 5 kinds. Only make 3 kinds. Don't put yourself under so much stress that you're not enjoying this wonderful time of the year. And please, if you've got children, gather them around you, start now and just start talking or reading a little portion of the Christmas story out of the Bible. Or just tell the story of Christmas. Keep it in their hearts so that they don't get caught up with all the other gimme, 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 gimmes. I'm sure you're probably getting tired of the gimme routine by now too. I want this, Mom. You got to get me this. I want this. I want this. We all get caught up in that, but please, let's try to focus on what's really, really important. Let me show you you like this? This is Enjoy. This is a part of what we do here at home all the time. We end our recipes with Enjoy. And I just thought this would be a neat way to say, I hope you're enjoying the preparation of the holidays, and I hope you're enjoying our program. Well, today we do cookies. And if you're with us last week, you know that we're offering our booklet, and you only have to send one time during this whole month of December, and you will get all of the recipes for the whole month. You don't have to send weekly like you normally do. We're going to get started with our cookies in just a minute. We'll be right back. Here's today's at-home Christmas hint. Here's today's at-home Christmas hint. When making cookies, add 1 teaspoon of jam or jelly to the batter. The cookies will have a little better flavor and stay moist longer.
If you have an at-home hint, a favorite recipe, or just a friendly greeting you'd like to share, we'd like to hear from you. Post it in the comments of this video or visit our Facebook page.
Okay, the first cookie we're making is a bar cookie, and it's called Pecan Pie Bars. If you like pecan pie, this is a variation, and it's really wonderful. What I've done, I've made a crust first, and this is 2½ cups of flour, a cup of cold butter cut in chunks, ½ a cup of powdered sugar, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I've just let that in my mixer go around till it's a nice crumbled. See, it's really crumbly. You have to incorporate it until it's crumbly. Sprayed some Pam in a jelly roll pan. It's really important to use a jelly roll pan because we're going to put a filling in it, and the filling the sides of the pan has to be high enough to hold the filling in. So basically, we're just going to pour the crumbs, and it looks like it's not going to work, but it will. It really, really will. Make sure you get all of it out of there. Okay. There we are. It's a wonderful time of the year. This is one of my favorites. I'll tell you, it's exciting because when you think of the hope that we can have because of the birth of the one whose special day this really is, you wonder what the world would have been like if Jesus had not come. I don't even want to think about that, but I'm very thankful that he did. the music of the season, the holiday, it's specials. You hear Silent Night or Away in the Manger, you cannot help but get into that feeling of, wow, this is a great time of the year. This is what it's all about. This is celebration, really, of the birth of the King. And at our house, we put those tapes on, and the Christmas music is going all the time because it just creates an atmosphere. It just makes everything seem a little better. You have a hope that maybe you wouldn't have had unless you hear some of the music, and it just creates a feeling in your heart that, well, you know, God really ultimately is in control, and He's going to take care of everything. Well, we've patted this into our pan that we've sprayed with Pam cooking spray, and now that's going to go in and bake in a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes. And make sure your oven is good and hot. Let me peek under here and set my timer so that we don't end up with a problem. And now I'm going to make the filling for this pecan pie bars. These you're going to cut into nice little squares. First of all, we're going to take 4 eggs, and we're going to put those into our bowl. Now, you don't even have to let the crust cool. You're supposed to put on while the crust is hot. So it's important that right now you prepare the filling, because if you don't, you'll forget, and then the dinger will be going off. You say, oh, I forgot to do that, I forgot to do it. I've done that. That's why I'm speaking from experience. But we're going to mix up our 4 eggs, just like that. And to that, we're going to add 1.5 cups of the light Karo syrup. Now, you know, this is what the basis for all of these pecan pies is that Karo syrup and eggs. And we're going to mix that around a little bit. To that, we're going to add a cup of granulated sugar. You say, oh, Arlene, that's so sweet. Yes, it is, but that's pecan pie. If you've ever had a piece, you know sometimes it'll set your tooth on an edge because it's very sweet. That's why you don't eat very much. And that's why the bars is just the right, you can cut them small enough just to have a piece. You don't have to have a whole big piece of pie, which is good. And then we're going to add 1/4 cup of brown sugar, sorry, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and mix it around. I want to tell you that the crust can be made even if you don't have one of these big mixers. You can do that by hand. It's just we have the equipment to do it, so we're trying to show you a lot of ideas, so we're making it easier on ourselves, but you certainly can make that without having a big mixer. And we have a couple of tablespoons, that's about 3 tablespoons of melted butter, and 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, and about 2.5 cups of coarsely chopped pecans. That's what makes pecan pie so good. It really, really is. Get rid of this because now I don't want to beat anymore. I just want to mix around. When this is completely covered, you're going to wait till your timer goes off for the crust, and while the crust is still hot, we'll pour this right over that crust and put it back in the oven, and it's going to bake for an additional 25 minutes. Okay, but we have it all set. You bring them out, you're going to let it cool on a wire rack and then cut it into bars. I tell you, this is a real interesting, tasty alternative to a pecan pie. All right, let's move on now to a cookie that we're going to do. It's called a turtle cookie. This is real interesting, and I think you're going to find this is a little different. I remember when I first got married to Paul, we went to his mom's house. It was his house too, for Christmas, and really it was fun because you never knew what you were going to get because his mom was quite a baker, and she liked to do a lot of special things. And she was a real sweet lady because she felt that her whole ministry was to her family and in her home. And she would make all kind of Christmas cookies, and she made something that looks very much like the turtle, but it had a big marshmallow on it. And I used to think, how does she do that? That takes so much time. She'd bake a cookie, put a marshmallow on, ice it, and decorate it. That was a lot of work, but she did it. And the older I get, the more I understand that you want to do specific and pretty and delicate and dainty sometimes when you have the luxury of time. If you don't do that. But she used to do that, and those were the cookies that you always look forward to. I'm going to tell you, if you make turtle cookies, that will be the cookie that everybody's going to be looking forward to. All right, we have 1½ cups of flour. We're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. We're going to add about 1/2 cup of butter. There we go. And what this is going to do is mix into a dough. Your butter should be a little bit more at room temperature, of course. And to this, we're going to add, let's see, I need 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Here it is. We'll add that in. And 1 yolk of an egg and 1 whole egg. So you have a whole egg and 1 yolk. No yolk, you only use the yolk. Well, anyway, let's see. Some vanilla, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/8 teaspoon of maple flavoring. Look for it, it's in your spice area. And we're gonna mix this around until a dough forms. Now it's gonna be a while because you're gonna have to work this, and it will be creamy. If you wanna use the mixer with this, you can. And when the dough forms, what you're gonna have is a soft dough, and you want to make sure that you chill the dough. That's why I'm gonna make this ahead of time. And when we come back from this break, I'm gonna show you what the dough should look like, and we're gonna show you how to put the turtle cookies together. We'll be right back.
Do you love watching At Home with Arlene Williams? Then be sure to check out our new YouTube channel. It's filled with classic episodes from over 20 years of At Home, and more videos are added each day. And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home.
All right, now, you know the dough that we've been making, I want to show you, this is the consistency it needs to be. This is what it's gonna be like. When you put it in a refrigerator, it's gonna get firmer. When you come out, you bring it out to do your cookies to actually shape the turtles, it needs to be a little soft. When you first mix it all up, it might be a bit softer than this. Refrigerate it as you need it. Sometimes, depending, like I've told you so many times, on the atmosphere, if it's a moist day, you know, it puts more moisture into what you're baking. So, but you want to roll them in about 1-inch balls, about like that. Now, at the end of the program, we're going to show you what these look like totally done, and you'll see what I mean. I got anxious and made them a little large. We have some of the biggest turtles you'd ever want to see. Us in the museum, I mean, these are big turtles. But you can make them smaller. The idea is to assemble them, and you're going to do it on an ungreased baking sheet, and you use 1/2 pieces of pecan. If you have to take a sharp knife to cut them, just cut them down the center, and you're going to space them. If you want to use 5 pieces, you can. The front legs, the back legs, and the head. I use just the 3, and you use the end of 1 piece as the nose part or the head part. And you space them kind of like that, all right? Then you take one of your little dough balls, and I flatten the bottom side. And this is the egg white. Remember, you put a whole egg and then just a yolk. You dip it just in the bottom, and then you press this over top of the turtle. Now, this dough is going to swell up when you get it in the oven to bake. Let me do another one for you. Get your pieces, and you try to get pieces that are kind of the same size. Okay? And the ones that break, you use for the head. Put them out there in the front, like that. Get a dough ball, flatten out the bottom of it. Dip it just the bottom in that, because that will stick to the pecans. And you can flatten it. I said to Paul when I was baking some before, now what does a turtle back really look like? Do I have to shape it? He said, no, we'll use our imagination. That's pretty good. Looks all right. Okay, the cut part you want to put on the inside, and the smooth part you keep on the outside. Again, you find the piece for the head. All right. And you take the dough ball, flatten the bottom, dip it into the egg white, and then just press it on the nuts. And try to keep it round because they kind of have to be. That's the way God made those turtles to look. So you really have to use your imagination sometimes, because it doesn't always turn out the way you'd want it to. You bake these for, let me make sure, in a 350-degree oven, 10 to 13 minutes, that's all. And you can put a lot because they don't swell up so big that they're going to run into one another, but they sure do raise during the baking process. You know, the kids could really have a good time doing this, couldn't they? I mean, invite some of the family, neighborhood kids, other families in the neighborhood, and have them come on over. Let the kids make turtles. Just shape them. Then when they're done baking, they're going to look something like this. This is what I told you. They'll swell a little, so these I made a little too large. You'd want to make them about this size so you can still see the nuts once they've baked. Then you're going to make a chocolate icing. And I would suggest that just as soon as they come out, this is about the right consistency. We'll include the recipe. It uses the little semi-sweet squares, unsweetened chocolate, not semi-sweet, unsweetened chocolate squares. And this makes a wonderful glossy icing. When these are still warm, what I did was just drop some on the top, and the warmth of the cookie made it gloss over and it made it real smooth. Now, if the phone rings or the kids interrupt you or whatever, it's okay, you can still ice them. And just cover them over as much as you can, just like that. And almost icing one that wasn't baked yet. This makes about 4 dozen cookies, and honest, these are great. If you've got a family that likes chocolate, they'll like this. This is a semi-sweet or unsweetened. You make it semi-sweet by adding the sugar to it, icing to it, and it's really quite tasty. This is a plain, almost like a plain butter or sugar cookie dough. Very easy to make. And again, you might have to be in and out of the refrigerator with it to get it to be workable. But believe me, see how nice and glossy that is? That's what you're looking for. This makes about 4 dozen, and these are just called turtle cookies. A couple of procedures to it, but it's worth it, all right? Now we're gonna do, you see how many minutes I have? Got about 6 more minutes on my pecan pie bars. We're gonna move now to a variation of a good old standard cookie for the holidays. And I know that most of you know what chocolate chip cookies are. And I'll tell you, it would not be Christmas without a good chocolate chip cookie. Other times people have made Mrs. Fields chocolate chip or whatever. This is a variation because it's a basic chocolate chip, but we're gonna add something to it to make it moist, even more moist, and that's pineapple. And this recipe was sent to me by Debbie Johnston, who said, Mom always had pineapple chocolate chip cookies available for us, and it wouldn't be holidays without them. I know what you mean, Debbie, because some things are just so traditional that if you didn't have them, you would think there's something wrong, it's not Christmas. But anyway, we're gonna take a cup of shortening. Let me get my spatula here. 1 cup of shortening and a cup of brown sugar. Okay, we're gonna cream these together, and a cup of white sugar. And once those get done, we're gonna drop our eggs in. You just mix it till it's real creamy. This makes a big batch of cookies. In fact, this makes about 6 to 7 dozen cookies. And you can make them any size you want. It was funny because when we were previewing this recipe, we decided that the person making them should not get tired, because the tireder you got, the bigger they got. I said, these are starting to look like dumplings, they're so large. Sandy said, I told you, I'm not the one that should be doing this, because you know me, when I get tired and we're in a hurry, things get bigger and bigger and bigger. But that's all right, I understand exactly where she's coming from. I do the same thing. Then we're gonna add 2 eggs. Okay. And basically, it's just like the regular recipe for chocolate chips, in that we're gonna add some flour and some walnuts, some baking soda and some vanilla, and it's gonna make a batter. Right before we're ready to spoon them, we're gonna add a whole 20-ounce can of crushed pineapple, and we're gonna put the liquid in. Don't drain it. Just right from the can, however it comes, we're gonna use it. This is a good idea. This would be a great if you're going to do one of those Christmas cookie, like a trade-off, you know, you get 4 or 5 of your friends to say, let's all make Christmas cookies and we're going to have a party, and I'll bring so many dozen, you bring some, we'll share them. This would be a great recipe to do that because it makes so many, and you could have them at home for your own family. Plus, you could take them with you. I think I'm going to add my pineapple now. And what I like to do is put my chocolate chips. Let me put the baking soda in there first. Let me mix that around a little bit because I like to make sure it gets evenly distributed. Then I like to add my chocolate chips and my walnuts to the flour because when it gets covered with flour, then I think it stays better in the cookie. Just kind of like what you do with the cake. I've just kind of got into the habit. We're going to mix the pineapple, and then we're going to add this, and these are dropped on an ungreased cookie sheet and baked at 350 for about 15 minutes. I'll tell you what, this is pineapple chocolate chip cookie, thanks to Debbie Johnston. We'll be right back after this important message.
Just go to ctvn.org/athome to get all the recipes from today's show for free. That's right, no subscriptions. They're available online at no cost, and more are being added each day. So join us at ctvn.org/athome to get today's recipes now.
Here we have our pineapple chocolate chip cookies. We've put them in a jar. This is a great way to give a gift, or on a nice platter. Next to them, turtle cookies. Are these incredible? I told you they were going to look good and they're going to taste even better. And next to that are the pecan pie bars. A sweet treat to appease your sweet tooth. Tell you what, these are great ideas for your holiday giving and holiday enjoyment in your own family get-togethers. We hope that you're enjoying At Home. It's a lot of work preparing these programs, but we're glad that we can do it for you because we care about you. And we want you to have a nice holiday season with your family and friends and those that you love around you. And if maybe your holiday is going to be a little different because you don't have a lot of family or friends, that's okay. Try to hook up with someone else who doesn't have a lot of family. But one thing I really want you to do is be sure to join us the next time because it just wouldn't be the same without you here at home. See you then.
Don't forget to click the subscribe button so you'll never miss another episode of At Home. Thank you for watching.
Fresh produce provided by Jordan Banana, wholesalers of fresh fruit and vegetables in Dravosburg, PA. Cookware provided by Woolies. Your favorite gourmet deserves the best for less from Woolly Balcony Cookware. Groceries provided by Foodland, where the answer is always yes. Cornerstone Television wishes to thank all our faithful viewers whose consistent prayers and financial support have made this program possible.